Victoria Woods. Hello. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I love being here.
Well, and people are probably tired of hearing me say this, but this is our 100th episode anniversary week.
Congratulations.
I know. Thank you so much. I mean, who knew that when we started in May of 2020, in the middle of everything, and God told me that we needed to start a podcast on joy, that we still keep going. But I wanted to have you back for a really intentional reason. And that is because your episode is one of the most listened to episodes. I mean, you are only second. You're not first. You're only second.
Oh, now you're hurting my feelings.
No, because of a YouTube influencer who's a crafter. It's hard to beat a YouTube crafter, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but your episode's wildly popular, and I said, we've got to have Victoria come back, this week. So yeah, and there's so much. The reason why I think that the episode's so popular is because you are the financial diva.
Mm-hmm.
You are, you work at Chappell Wood Financial, and you are the CEO of Chappell Wood Financial. Yes.
Founder, CEO, chief investment advisor, all of the above.
Absolutely. You are an author of the book that we can see right behind you that says It's All About the Money, Honey.
All about the money. And my second edition is coming out. We should have to do a podcast about that. They're pressing me. The publishers are really pressing me, but it's going to be coming out this fall. And if we can get it done by October, and it's not them, it's all me. I'm so busy that I just haven't gotten to the final proofs. I had to proof the cover, which actually I'm kind of excited about this new cover.
Okay.
Last week.
You just said that you're so busy, and you're so busy because you have some exciting news. Tell us what's going on in your life.
Well, first of all, we've all gone through this major pandemic, and just having a successful business is a success in itself these days. We are now getting ready to celebrate our 30th anniversary. I know I started my business when I was 9. So it's pretty exciting. We've been able to help a lot of families, which just is, my passion. It's what I live for. I get up every day knowing that I can make a positive financial difference in people's lives. And that, to me, is one of the best blessings ever, that you know that after so many years and so much success, that every day that you get to make a positive difference in people's lives, and it financially, because we're all going to be living longer. We're all going to be living in retirement for 30 years. We call that voluntary unemployment around my office because it truly is. It's voluntary. You don't have to quit work, but if you want to, we want to make sure you have some money, honey. Mm-hmm. And so, we continue our radio show every single week. We do a lot of podcasts. Like with you, we're updating the book. But recently, my second passion is really supporting and helping women. And, we've been doing that through our business because women, they do have different issues and problems and concerns and challenges that men do because we live longer. We take time out of the work environment to raise children. Some people raise children, go back to work, and then they're back caring for their parents. So our Social Security is not the same. So we have to save more money, and we have to do a better job. And actually, I always love to brag on women and say, statistics show that women do a much better job at managing their finances because, and they always say why, and by a point a year. That's a huge difference over a lifetime. When you're talking 1% plus, in every study I see, it's like 1.4, 1.3, but it's almost 1.5 better than men. And then people say, well, Victoria, why is that? And I love sharing this because women are very disciplined. They create a plan, they stick with the plan, but they monitor it, and they're conservative. And it's consistency. And I tell people all the time, consistency will always outperform occasional brilliance. Men want to get that one big win, whereas women said, just give me my nice little returns every year, just steady Eddie. and that's what makes them more successful.
I say, and so because you have this real heart for women, you are involved in some really, really amazing stuff right now. That's kind of brand new, right?
Well, it's not new to Oklahoma. It's new for me that I had been appointed. I was appointed by Mary Fallon to the Oklahoma Commission on the Status of Women. And this year, Governor Stitt, his office called and said, Victoria, would you like to be reappointed? And I said, well, does the governor have some other place he would like me to serve? And Chris said, well, we've been hearing that they want you to chair the commission, and but it's up to you. The governor said you have served. He appreciates it, but he would, if you would like to, he would like to reappoint you. So I accepted the appointment. And then I had so many of the commissioners asking me to chair the commission. And you're talking about 30 amazing, talented, successful, A-plus personality women. And then we also have an advisory board. And the advisory board can be as large as it is. But there's a lot of women in Oklahoma that don't want to serve on the commission but advise us. And what the commission does is we do so many things. When someone asked me, so I created some talking points for the commissioners because we do so much. So it depends kind of on who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I am extremely excited, though, because, I just keep getting feedback. I was just sworn in by the governor in June, late June. We had our planning meeting in August, and it was so successful. Women were saying, these commissioners saying, we've done more in the last, 60 days than we have in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, and just getting work done instead of dealing with like a lot of bureaucratic stuff. It's really getting work done for women in Oklahoma. And what we do is we have what's called community conversations all over the state. We do them on Zoom. We can do them on Facebook Live. We've done them in person before last year. We all had to learn the Zoom and the Facebook Live. All those women did, but we've had panels. We are in charge to produce the Oklahoma Women's Hall of Fame. Now that's extremely important to me because in our bylaws, and we have honored women, but I just don't think we have honored them the way we should. So this year I've charged the chair with bringing back all 144 women, because this started in 1994 and a lot of people don't know about it. So we inducted 144 women. I want them all brought back. And I want to honor all of them in the way that I believe they should. So there'll be a big, big, big event coming up in we're going to vote on it next week, either April or the 1st of May. So that'll be a big event. And why that's so important, Yvette, is because, when you have all of these people in a room, you can share your vision and your mission and your purpose and what we're doing. And we're a strong voice and recognized voice for the state of Oklahoma, for women. It's important that all of the things that we do are shared with our legislators, because our job, and after the year, my responsibilities is report back. The conversations are important because around the state we have different issues, and so it's not I don't want legislators sitting around trying to figure out something and create laws that have no significance and impact on women. So when we do these conversations and summits, we've done them on mental health. We're doing them on human trafficking years ago, and now we are revisiting that again. We've done it on domestic violence. So we bring all these resources together. We have a program, a campaign we're starting called TAPS. And the TAPS project was given to us, and that is the appointment project. And it's to get more women statewide to understand how you can serve Oklahoma and how that will benefit your community. So I was working on that today about, having the links easier to find and how you do it. And we've got this great group of women that are going to do this campaign for that. And we've got a speakers bureau, Pat Carr. She's amazing. She just put it out on Facebook about, you need a guest speaker. You want to hear about the Women's Commission? Please, we've got women that are ready, raising their hand, will give of their time to come to your community, your organization, your association, your business, and share with you what the commission does and how it can benefit women.
Mm. That is so awesome. So first of all, congratulations
Well,
for
thank
being
you.
reappointed and for being asked to be the chair.
Mhm.
I know that you have a heart for women, and I think that the reason why your episode uh was so well loved was because it challenged women, really whoever heard it, but who it challenged, I think, women in particular to consider themselves and their family when
Mhm.
talking about their finances, and don't let. Now here's the thing, we're Christians, and
Right.
I think sometimes we have a weird relationship with money.
We do.
Should we should give it all away, or the rich man in the parables, but certainly when you hear a minister talk about those parables, it doesn't necessarily say that wealth is bad.
No.
So I do think that we as Christians do have just don't know what to think about, and don't know what to do with our money. Yes, and you even said before on the show, yes, being charitable is a good thing, but also we need to have common sense and to use our money wisely. And so that's why I think it was such a popular show. I'd love for you to tell us again why this is important and what we as Christian women need to think about when we are looking at our finances currently and also for the long term.
And that's a great question. And it's very valid because we do have a weird relationship. If you came from, like, we didn't have lunch money. So, I had a different relationship than maybe you do. And we all have something maybe a little different. So if you think, okay, we're not entitled to create wealth and we're not entitled to that, and that is totally false. We are all created to create wealth. And the reason is because you can only bless other people if you've been successful yourself. I had a very important training that I went to when I was about 23 years old. And I will remember them saying about, you can't, when somebody's in a hole. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Just today, coming here to do this interview, there was a young lady sitting on the curb, bawling her eyes out. And I stopped her. I stopped and I said to her, are you okay? And she said, yes, ma'am, I'm fine. Are you okay? This went on for like 20 minutes.
Mm.
She just kept saying she was fine. I said, what is the problem? Please, I own this building. She's right on my curb. I said, please come in. And it's just about blessing somebody. By the time she got through, she is smiling. I mean, just tears. And I said, and congratulations for the fact that you stopped your car. You were upset. You pulled over. I said, sometimes, honey, it's just a good cry. But this just went on. And finally, she told me what it was. And because I asked her, I said, okay, it's either a health issue, a man issue, or a money issue. And she went, she doesn't, and I said, it doesn't matter which one it is, honey. We've all been there.
And
It's,
sometimes it can be all three.
and it could be all three at the same time. And I said that, I think. So like, and it could be all three at the same time. But she went, yeah, it's a man thing. And I said, okay, you're a beautiful young lady. You look like a nice person. And, please, if you want to sit here, fine. If you want to come in the building where it's air conditioned, I won't bother you. Just sit in the air conditioner. I'll get you a drink. But again, it's just taking a moment to do that. That's just what we all can do. We all can do something like that. It doesn't matter who I am. Just the fact that somebody cared about her. You don't know where her mental state was. But she went from this crumpled up, sitting on the curb, boo-hooing, to finally rising up, comes over to my car and says, you are such a wonderful person. I said, honey, I'm a good person, but you're a wonderful person. And you shouldn't allow anybody to, whatever happened, discourage you. And I said, again, I'm going to go in my office. If you need to come in, just tap on the door. You are welcome. If I can ever do anything for you, please call me. I just knew she needed somebody to say to her, I see you. I see you're hurting. I'm a human being too. I've been there. What can I do to help you? Because she just kept insisting she was okay. And you could clearly see she wasn't.
Right.
But by the time she left, she said, you have inspired me so much. She goes, I'm an artist. And I stopped being an artist. She goes, I'm going back to my house right now. You're going to hear from me in 2 months. I'm not going to hold her to it, but she said, my name is Norma. You're going to hear from me in 2 months. You have helped me so much today. And, and I laughed. I don't know, she could be still sitting out there on the curb. I doubt it, because you could just see her rise up and say, I can do this. And the same with money, though. When you create wealth, then you're able to help so many more people. If you're a generous person, and I believe God knows, it don't have to, okay, 10% of the world, and it has to be, no. Even if you don't have money, giving your time to someone like this young lady, that I believe that God sees that as just as important as if I wrote a $5,000 check to the Blake Shelton, Force 50 effort, allied arts, whatever I can do to support people. But you also have to be smart. I don't believe in all this, and I don't ever think God wants you to give it all away. I know there's people try to drag on this one, give it all away. I don't believe that. Money's to create money, and wealth is going to continue, and as long as you keep creating it. What you don't want to do is you don't want it to be stagnant. Because just think about water. When water is stagnant, what happens? It doesn't move. It's got to be moving. If it's not, all the flies are going to come. It's going to stink to high heaven. It's going to be raw. Everything in it's going to die. Money has to be in motion. It's a law of the universe. Everything is in motion. The planet is in motion. The sun is in motion. Everything's in motion. And if you just think of money as the same way, and you do it with a merry heart. That is the other thing. I tell people all the time, when you give money, you don't ever give it begrudgingly. You always give it, even when you pay your bills. That I say, because my bills are quite high here at the office, and I support a lot of things. But I know that, and I know it's a check. Bless that money. God put this to good use, and it will come back to bless us, all of us that work here, and help so many Oklahomans. But take that money and give it with a merry heart. Give it. Know it's going to come back to you. Know it's going to be used for good use. You have to have that mental attitude to know for sure that that's where your hard-earned money is going.
Mm-hmm.
And be smart. I mean, and plan just like anything else. I always say when I do a presentation, it's when we do the welcome, I said the reason we're all here is because we care about being a good steward of our money, because it's that important in this world. If you choose to live on planet Earth, it is all about the money. You can't live on planet Earth, and every single person is either saving money, earning money, giving it away, investing it. You're doing something with money 24 hours a day. It's 24 hours a day. You're doing something with money. And we've all done stupid. Be the first to say, we've all done stupid with money. When people come to my office and they feel like they've done stupid with money, and they first thing they want to tell me is how stupid they've been. And I say, well, everybody's done stupid with money. If you're over 10 years old, you've probably done a lot of stupid with money. So what you want to do is just make sure you learn the lesson and not do stupid again. And then I usually share a story in my book. I share the first thing I do is we've all done stupid, so let's get that out of the way. And I talk about the stupid mistake that I made at 27 years old. And I said, the smart thing, though, is that I learned that lesson, and I never invested in anything that I didn't really understand. I did it emotionally instead of a disciplined reason for investing. So.
Okay, so everyone's going to have to get the book to find out what stupid thing she did at 27.
Oh, yeah. Well, I figure, I might as well just let's make fun of me, because I didn't. Yeah. But the whole point of that whole section, that chapter, was the fact that don't beat yourself up. Mm-hmm. You can't go back. But please don't repeat the stupid. That's the whole point of it. We've all done stupid, accept it. I have. Learn the lesson, though, and just be smarter the next time, and don't get caught up in doing stupid. Just be very disciplined and know why you're doing what you're doing, and make sure that you have a partner there that can make sure that you can talk to. We shouldn't, as women, Our voices need to be heard, regardless, and you should not be made to feel insignificant, silly, stupid, or uninformed, or anything that you forget that. Your voice and your feelings matter no matter how you feel. Like, anytime somebody says, I feel this way, you're never going to hear me say, well, that's silly. You shouldn't feel like that. Because I can tell you it's a very sensitive subject with me because that's the way I was brought up. My mother was very tough. And she would always say, because you talk about your feelings, it was like, well, that's just silly. So then you shut up and you never talk about your feelings. Well, that's not healthy.
No,
So
not at all.
when anyone tells me how they feel, I say, you have every right to feel that way.
So I'm really glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk to you about money and relationships. So whether you have a partner or whether it's husband wife or even girlfriend boyfriends, because sometimes even girlfriend boyfriend have financial decisions that they need to make,
Mm-hmm.
and there can be so many differences. For example, there can be people who truly believe in tithing and they really want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that they do that, and that is perfectly fine. We definitely do. There's a lot of people who may be watching who also think differently. I think we can all agree on two things. We want to agree that yes, we definitely need to give to God the first fruits, how, however much that is, but I think we can agree on that. I think we can agree that we should not bury those talents, just like you said, money should not be stagnant. I think we can agree on that. But when we have um, relationships and money, how can obviously they were not the couple you're talking about, they were not able to talk about this at home. So what advice can you give to the women who may be watching this? And there could be some men watching this too. When they are in their with their partners, with their significant others, to be able to have a fruitful conversation about money and not let it go into a bad place.
Mm-hmm. And you see, that's the problem right there. If you don't, it festers, and then you become resentful. As she said that, I have become so resentful. Well, it's because and I'm not accusing her of this. I'm just saying maybe she wasn't as honest as she should have been. And marriage is about compromise.
Mm-hmm.
When clients come in, this happens just like I can tell you like 95% of the time. When clients come in, we always ask the question, what is most important to you individually after they fill out a lot of papers, but I want to hear them say, what is most important to you? And is it protecting those assets or protecting a portion of your assets or protecting or growing your assets? They just don't, it's this like I'm speaking a different language. They're like, nobody's ever asked me that. I don't know. And I said, well, let's stop and think about it. And you, Mary, you, Roy, and when you hear them say, she will say, seriously, 9 times out of 10, all of it. That's what women say. They're more conservative. And he's looking at her like she is from planet Mars. Like, what? But we get them to have that conversation. And sometimes I need to take it home and discuss it. But you have to be honest. But at least you know where they're coming from. And so you explain to him why it's important to her. Well, this is what I do. I explain why it's so important to her. And then for her, I explain why it's so important that, not all of it should be protected. And I explain and share with her all the reasons why you need some of your money to grow. You're not going to need it in the next 3 to 5 years. You're going to need it 20 years down the road. So you don't want to lose out on growth opportunities and because of inflation. So being honest and open and starting the conversation with, I think we should have, let's start the setting. You don't do it on a Friday night. You don't do it when you're rushed and you're off to some family event. You do it when everybody is calm. Maybe a Saturday morning over coffee. When everybody's got a good night's rest, because it can be an emotional, particularly for women, an emotional topic because they want to have input. They are living longer. They deserve to have input. They support this whole family unit. They're a CEO of their family.
Mm-hmm.
So they should be heard and having a conversation when it's quiet, when it's non-stressful, and when you can say, I really want to have an honest conversation about this. Maybe you have a spouse like I did, and he's known, I've talked about this publicly. He was all about spending credit card debt and not paying it off monthly, whereas I'm over here saving like a crazy person. And I would never, when I was 26, 27, that's it. I paid $300. I probably put this in the book too. $300 to a credit card company. And I said, I need that more than they do in interest. At the end of the year, when I saw that, I said, that is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, not that I don't use credit cards, but I know I pay them off every single month. And nowadays they're pretty large, but you pay them off every single month. You have to agree on that and say, okay, we're either going to do it this way or we're going to do it this way or we're going to have a problem. And you don't want that. You have to sit down and discuss, and this really should be done before you get married, but that usually does not happen, unfortunately, because you're in love. Nothing matters except the fact that you're in love.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, and when you're in love, you'll say whatever he wants to hear. He'll say whatever you want to hear. And this is, now we get down to the truth. He thinks one way, you think another. Maybe you're a saver and he's not. You have to have those conversations and say, we need to be going in the same direction.
Yeah, no, you are reading my mind, because I was just going to say, I think that there are, many of us who may have children, these adult children. And so I was raised Catholic, and we had to have a kind of, they called it marriage encounter, where you had to do this before you were going to get married in the church. Lots of different denominations have lots of different ways that they do it, but this is what we did. And we had to discuss finances. We had to discuss children, how we thought about things. And you're right, not everybody does that, but it is so important, because you'll be surprised, and not in a good way.
No, because you think you know this person. And my husband and I had those counseling sessions. Our pastor would not marry Methodist. He's not marrying us until we sit down and have these conversations. Mm-hmm. But again, when you're in love, it's like whatever she wants, whatever she. But then you get into real life, and things happen, and things change, and somebody loses their job. Somebody, it just, things happen. So,
or somebody wants to go back to school, or somebody wants to take a job that pays less, but it's more enjoyable. I mean, these are all important conversations that people need to have.
But I find that people have those conversations when they tell me, like, the first thing I ask them, if they'll say, "Oh, my husband had a fight about money again," and I go, "Really? Well, what time of day was this?" "Oh, it was Friday afternoon." "And you had a Friday cocktail?" "Really? Okay, was that the best time to have that conversation?"
Yeah.
Let's be smart about this. Mm-hmm. Be patient. Keep your mouth closed. You just make sure that the environment is the right environment to have that conversation, so that you can stay calm, they can stay calm. Because we as women, we are a little more emotional, maybe more passionate. A lot of times it's with women, it's about their kids' schooling. They don't care about anything else. It's like, I just want to know my kids can go to Catholic school. I want to know that they're going to go to, private school. That's where the money to them. Spouse over here is going, what? When you have these conversations, they're like, I didn't know that. So you do have to sit down and tell somebody what's important to you. And hopefully you can either agree, absolutely, I'm on board. We're going to homeschool our children. You're going to stay home. This is what we're going to do. I support you 100%. That is a good discussion. But then there's a lot of times where it's not. And you have to compromise, because when men come in and women come in, just like for money, it's a marriage. I know you want your way. You want your way. We have to now come to a consensus of what is going to make you both kind of happy. Because that's truly what happens. And again, it's the female that always wants it's about the children. It's about guarantee of principle, where they want to protect everything that they've, accumulated. Whereas the husband's like, no. Wife says, you say, how much do you want to keep in an emergency fund or a cash account for a year? That who knows what's going to happen out there in crazy land? And she says $100,000, and he looks at her like she is from Mars. What? It happens.
Now, I will say, sometimes it is the other way around. My husband is the saver, and I'm the spender.
Well, there you go. See, That's what I'm
But
saying. Most of the time, it's the women over here. But and if you're the spender, you have to. But it does have to be a compromise.
oh
Otherwise,
yeah,
it's going to cause friction in your marriage.
yeah.
It's like, and there's a well-known guy about debt that he talks about. You have to have joint checking account and all that stuff. That's not a marriage if you don't. Oh, baloney. No, whatever works for you, honey. There is no
I have
rule.
never had a joint checking account. I'm sorry, I've never had one.
No. Do you want a divorce? Get a joint checking account. Now,
That's
it works
right.
for some people. Young people will come to me and ask for advice and say, Victoria, we're getting married. I'm feeling guilty. I feel like we're not really married if we don't have a joint checking. What is your position? And I said, what is going to make this marriage last?
Mm-hmm.
That's my position. What is best for you all? And it's very rare on my radio show. People say all the time that it depends. Victoria's favorite comment is it depends. When any question comes to me, it depends because it does. It depends on you. It depends on your situation. It depends on, what you want the outcome to be. And there is going to be compromise and there's going to be consensus. But once we all agree, like I keep thinking of this young couple that came to me and they got this inheritance. And she is one that wanted her kids in private school. And she wanted to know that chunk of money was sitting over there. Nothing can happen to that money as far as she was concerned. And I said, okay, well, what about a guarantee of principal? Like all of these assets that you all have now, what percent of those assets do you want to protect? And that's the other thing. Women go, dollar amount, percentage, I don't know. Well, women are better with saying, I want half, the first they want to say 100%, then we explain why they shouldn't. And then it's, well, okay, I want 50% of it protected, that no matter what happens in crazy land. Well, okay, that's fine. Again, the husband looks at her like she is from another planet. It's like, no, it was to him, it was like, no way. That to him was so far extreme. So that's when I say, can we work this out today and make a decision, or do you need to go home and discuss it in private? And that day she was like, this is what I want. And he's like, this is what I want. But they did. But I said, think about what's important to her. This is important. I said, and think about his point of view. That may be way too much money because it was $500,000. And so they did compromise. I'll just tell you, it was really, they've been clients again for 10, 12 years. But for them, and I can see them sitting in my office because it happens so often, but they came to this compromise in the meeting. And I think she just didn't want to come back. Is why they compromised on it. She's like, oh, don't make me go through this again, Victoria. She's a darling girl, and a great mom, a great wife. But she, they compromised on $250,000. And I said, okay, is that going to make you happy? Because I don't want you to resent it later, like feel like you were pressured into it. Is that going to make you happy? Because we're all going to agree here. I'm not doing nothing. I'll let that money sit there. I'll send y'all to somebody else. I want to know that we can all agree and not later be resentful that you don't feel like you were heard and your opinion was met. So it's always important to not hold it in because it's just human nature to be resentful if you didn't get what you thought was the way it should be.
Sure.
And it can change. Remember, it's moving water. You can always go later. And like I told her, I was like, well, let's start with the $250,000 if we all agree on this. And just know, husband, at any point, we can move that money in this bucket of money. We can move that over here to protection. And just know over here, if that makes her happier, if y'all decide as a couple, we just simply move those assets over here to protection. So let's start with that as the foundation and not this is the way it's going to be forever. It should be an ongoing conversation like running water. It should never be stagnant.
Mm. Now, what about this could be for anybody, but for maybe younger people or people who just have not been able to find themselves in a financial windfall, who may be struggling, who are working really hard, or
Mm-hmm.
who may have gotten caught up in the pandemic and lost a job.
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously want to protect their family, earn for their family. They also still want to be generous Christians.
Mm-hmm.
So when thinking about money,
It's good.
what about fear?
Mm-hmm.
I think when it comes to money and not having money or wanting more than you have, there can be a lot of fear involved.
There is. However, what you must know and understand and accept is what you fear comes upon you. So if you fear the loss of money, your car's going to break down, your dishwasher's going to break, your washing machine's going to break. It's all going to happen at the same time because you're always in a state of fear. And you can't be. You need to be in a state of abundance. Whatever it takes for you to know there is more money out there, it's abundantly there. You just have to decide. And like you said earlier, and I love this, that you may take a lesser paying job because it's more fulfilling to you. Then you just accept that and you budget accordingly. To me, that's pretty simple. I will never be unhappy. My husband said, one thing I know about her, if she's unhappy, she will fix it in a heartbeat because she's not going to live in this world to be unhappy. And we all go through really hard things. Goodness knows, as long as I've been on this planet. But you do want to make sure that you stay in a state of happiness. You give generously, but you give merrily, and you have to decide. And it's real simple. What most people do that is they spend everything, and then they say, "Well, I don't have any money to give." You see, they do that opposite. That's not the way it works. It's like this. I have earned this. We don't make money. I'm very sensitive about people saying, "Well, I make this, I make that." I go, "Really? Did you print that money?" No. You traded your time, your talents, your skills. You traded that so that you earned it. So let's start with the fact that you earned this and you get to tell it what to do. But you tell it upside down. It's we give first. That's the bottom line. You have to give first and give merrily with a merry heart. You give first and you be a good steward. You know that this money is going to good works, whether you're blessing allied arts, whether you're blessing a church. I don't care if you're blessing someone else. It may be a family member, but you are giving first. Then, we come to the savings and then we come to expenses. It's totally different. And when you get your mind right to that's how you live, that's when you become really successful with getting your financial house in order. It's in your head. You've got to get your head right first. I'm supposed to earn first. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then I'm supposed to give and give with a merry heart and know that the way I'm giving this, whomever I am, I'm blessing the world. I am blessing God's children. Or you give it to a family. I am blessing this family. And do it, you do it with a merry heart. Then you look at, your savings has got to be next for your protection. And then it's got to be expenses. So.
It makes so much sense when you put it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all common sense. I'm not a genius. Believe me, I don't have a huge IQ. It's just I do have a lot of common sense, and I came from nothing. So I've gone through all of that. I remember the one time that a young man asked me to support his mission. Well, I had just bought a new office building. I had all these employees. I just was so fearful that period that I didn't support him. $25. I look back on that and I was like, oh my Lord, I'm just so unhappy with myself because I was fearful that I wasn't going to be able to make payroll. And God has always blessed me. I don't know where I got that fear, but I just was fearful. I remember sitting there and I felt so horrible. So the next time, and of course I made payroll. It was tough, but I made payroll. I've never not made payroll in any 3 companies I've started. But the fear does come upon you. So what I did, and I wasn't paying myself. I put all my money back into the company, into employees, into suppliers, So when this young man came back the next time, because it was so profound to me, because I've been giving my whole life and I just couldn't right then bring myself, and I realized it was fear. And I said to God, I am no longer going to be fearful. You have always guided me, you've always protected me, you've always blessed me. I am no longer going to be fearful of money. And I remember, and the young man's name was Sean Van Lanningham. And, after when he came back from that mission trip and I saw in his house, I am donating again to him. Anytime he wants anything, he knows that I'm there. And it hurt my heart that I wasn't a part of contributing to that wonderful life experience for him and what he did to bless other people. So it was a painful lesson.
I bet it felt like a real missed opportunity.
Oh, for $25? Are you kidding? That was his minimum ask, and I beat myself. So don't do that. See, that's a stupid idea. I never did that again. Oh no. Now it's like, I don't fear. I have no fear. I will give it no fear whatsoever.
Excellent. Well, let's make sure people know where to find you. So how can they find your radio show?
Well, you can find the radio show on our website, on Facebook Live. You can listen to it, but you have to schedule your time. It's Saturdays at 1:00 on KTOK. However, we are on podcasts. I don't even know all the places the producer puts it, but I know it's on iHeartRadio, Podomatic. There's 3 or 4, I guess. And you just have to Google Financial Diva. It's under the Financial Diva instead of Chappell Wood. It's under Financial Diva, and you can listen to the podcast at any time, or go to our website at chappellwood.com, and that's 2 P's, 1 L, and the recordings will be there, and you can see those. You can go to the YouTube channel and see we have our TV show. That's recent since we've talked about. I'm so sorry, I forgot about that.
Oh no, okay, yeah.
So the TV show, and again, the one thing I love about technology is you don't have to oh my gosh, I'm going to be here at 1:00, or I got to do this. The TV show, do you know now they just send us a link and we put them on YouTube, and it's the YouTube channel, the Financial Diva. There's playlists there, and you can just go, oh, I just want to see those episodes, and they're 30 minutes, so you can just watch them quick. Turn on your TV, YouTube, Financial Diva, there it is. It's fascinating to me.
Excellent.
It's great so that you don't have to schedule your time around that, but we're on after Joel Osteen. It's easier for people just to go to YouTube and get those series right now. And we just finished our first 6, and we are planning now to go out and to the production studio. This studio is like $4.5 million studio. It's amazing. In the next month or so to do more. So
excellent. And the second edition of It's All About the Money, Honey.
Yes.
Will be available on Amazon.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's where it will be, but we'll also have it on our website and audio and all, because we got the radio studio here. And the other thing, though, I should probably tell you for anyone listening that you want to come and hear about what the commission does. The First Lady is hosting a human trafficking panel at the governor's mansion on November 19th. So I'll make sure that you get the information. Again, like I said, our meeting is next week. It's been confirmed with the First Lady. We know it's on the 19th. I believe it's 11 to 2 at on the governor's ground. It's in the pavilion, but it'll be, women are invited. There'll be a panel there, though, discussing it and what we can do to help the problem with human trafficking, because it is men and boys and girls both, but really a lot. It's just shocking how many young women get abducted. So we want to stop that.
Yeah, such an important cause.
It really is.
Yeah. Victoria, thank you so much for coming back on the show. This was great. A lot of really good information.
Well, I always love talking to you. So anytime.
All right. Thank you so much. And I want to encourage everybody definitely to go to her website and check out the book. And also, I will certainly post, when I get the information from you, I will post it in the show notes about the upcoming event. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, darling. Good to see you.